something beautiful is about to happen in Africa continent as Africa. They are about to deliver the railways, which will link about 60 cities all over Africa continent. And this railway project is worth of 7 billion US dollar. Calculate it in your own currency. See how much that African countries they are willing to invest so far in order for them to at least connect Africa continent from one side of Africa to the other side of Africa. So that is the breaking news dropping down right now on the table. And we feel like as Africans from all over around the world, wherever you are watching us from, we deserve to come and sit down and have conversation over that and see on how this project is going to benefit people of Africa. Is it one of the surrogate project which African leaders they can come and announce, or is it something that Africans they can count on? Because we all know that there is a many projects which the African leaders they have signed for or had announced, but when it comes to the reality, it is another thing for them to get to realize these all realities. So is this one of their lies, or is it something that's going to happen? But looking at how things are sitting right now on the table, according to our results, it seems to be that this is actually the beginning of the true development of Africa continent. And us as Pan-Africans, we believe that this is something that we need to be chased for, and we need to be celebrated for, and we need to be even monitoring it even more closely so that uh, those who like to come and destroy Africa projects they should not get a chance to do so this time. So, from wherever you are watching us, before we get to engage ourselves through this conversation, we are inviting you to make sure that you hit that like button so that many people can come and join us as we are having this conversation. So, guys, Africa, we all know that we've been through a lot. We all know that the world have a different view when it comes to Africans. We all know how we're being treated out there, and we all know how the Western enjoy destroying the African economy each and every time because they know very well that no, by destroying African economies, it's gonna make Africans to always be there and allow them to come in, especially African leaders to come in and do whatsoever kind of mafias that they been doing all this time. They can come in and loot African minerals. They can come in and do all those things. So they've been coming in stealing African minerals, but without doing nothing in exchange. They've been coming in Africa without trying to make effort at least to do something for Africans. For an example, like maybe to build up roads, to maybe build up school, creating jobs, do all these kind of beautiful things that we see other countries does out there. For in behalf of Africans, these people they never want to do this kind of things. Why? For the simple reasons, and one of their reasons here is to always want Africans to suffer so that they'll take advantage of African minerals. And us coming out each and every time, raising up the issue on how Africa can get to develop, on how African they should stand from all over around the world to see on how they can come to raise up the economy of Africa, to educate also our leaders on how they should be doing things instead of them choosing to be puppets of the Western. So this kind of things, it is something that had really made many Africans decide to leave even Africa continent and start going all over around the world, like in Europe or America, only for one reason. And the reason here was for them to at least try to find on how they can take something better or learn something new, which they can bring in Africa continent. So that moment whereby these people will come and do whatsoever they've been doing in Africa, I think it has come to its end. We are seeing African youth who are coming forward as a revolutionaries in a different part of Africa continent, and they're trying to raise up their concerns and in different matters which concern whether in the world of politics or in the economy, environment, in any sector possible as they can, Africans are coming up and they're trying to do some things which they know that it's gonna help Africa continent to develop. This project of the railways, it is a project which is going to benefit many African countries because it's going to connect about 60 cities. These 66 cities, we are seeing different countries within this project. And remember, once this railway project go to its end, do you know what does that mean for people of Africa? Which means we'll be having a free and fair circulation of merchandise around Africa continent. Which means we can be able to eat tomatoes which are coming from Tanzania. Which means we can take the minerals which come from these areas of Africa continent to bring it to this certain part of Africa continent and get to use it or produce it. How many times we have sit on our own and we raise up a concern on how African minerals should not keep on going across the borders like in the Western and get being produced over there, whereby Africans they are remaining without having jobs. Because each and every time when there's something which is leaving Africa without being produced, just for us to come and consume um, the final item which they had fabricate or invented. We said that these things is what is killing Africa economy. For an example, if you have to take like an iPhone, this iPhone today we are buying it very expensive in Africa continent, right? But remember, this same iPhone, it is something which we're supposed to be inventing it on our own because we're the one who have about 95 minerals or materials which this iPhone is being invented of. So we fail to do that. They are coming here, they collect all the necessary materials that they need to invent this iPhone. They take it from our soil. These materials, they are leaving Africa continent just like that, pure as it is. Once it is being brought up aboard, these materials, they will be transferred according to their needs with their own machines and people work over there. Again, you could see how many jobs that these people are taking away from Africans and they are going to put it or bring it in their countries. And once this phone is finished, they'll come and sell to you the finished material at a very high price. But when this material leave Africa, it was at a very cheap price. And every time I keep on asking you this question, why until now our African leaders they are not doing something about it, whereby they can maybe vote over the in the AU to at least stop uh, the exploitation of all these African minerals and make sure that this African mineral they can stay within African border. Whoever wants it, they must come and transform it from Africa so that Africans they can have jobs. But again, the kind of leadership we're having in Africa is what keep on failing people of Africa. But at least now that we're seeing this kind of project coming forward, we're seeing this kind of railways being built all over, at least is a good sign. That shows that these minerals, if the Republic of Zambia, they are not able to transform it, they can import it or export this mineral to another country, maybe to South Sudan, maybe to South Africa, where there's a little bit of development when it comes to the world of manufacturers. And they can take these minerals and try to create even more jobs around by using people to transform it instead of us letting Chinese taking it away, instead of us letting Americans and Europeans taking it away from Africa just like that. So this project is taking place right now. And the first country which is about to release its railways That is Egypt. As you all know that Egypt, they've been building a new city, a new town, in other words. From scratch, they did something which most of African countries have not done so far. They started from nowhere, from the ground, they built everything. I'm not making up this. You can even Google it. There's an existing city in Egypt outside of Cairo. And this city, they're planning to make it even to make it become the capital of Egypt. They invest a lot of money over there in that city. But they end up realizing that no, this city, it won't be a touristic place without us having a proper railway which will be running the highest speed uh, um, wagons or machines over there. And they decided to invest a lot of money in order for them to be having these railways. That it is something that need to be saluted. Because besides Egypt, we have Senegal, which will already link their railways between Senegal and Ethiopia. What about Ethiopia and Mombasa? So, as that keep on linking these railways. Another project again, it is between the three countries, which is Angola, Republic of Democratic of Congo, and Zambia. These three countries, they are also trying to link their country through their railways. And remember, once they do that, which means there's a much possibility that Zambia will link with Zimbabwe, and Zimbabwe will link with South Africa. And you can tell already that now Africans will be having a possible way to take some kind of merchandise which they can remove from the west of Africa to the north of Africa. And this kind of development, it is all what we need in Africa continent. In order for us to develop Africa continent, these are the kind of project we need to be looking forward for. I'll tell you why. Because where there's a free circulation of merchandise, it is where the economy lays. The economy does not lay where people are sitting one place, merchandise are sitting one place. Do you know how many food are getting rotten in Africa continent? All just because after farmers they have take and worked so hard. I mean, they took their time and worked so hard to cultivate a different type of food. But just because they don't have transportation for this food to leave the bush to go where people are seated, or where people will consume this food. Well, this food, most of them, they usually get to be rotten. Why? Because we don't have roads, because we don't have railways. Some of them, even if we say they do have some railways. You find out that those railways, they are not in good conditions. You find that those roads, they are not in good conditions. Some means that's supposed to maybe to arrive on time in the next city in order for people to consume it. Something a distance maybe supposed to take people a day or even 2 days. Well, you find out that no, these cars, these trucks or railways, it making things stuck on the road for more than a month. By the time this merchandise get to reach the main city or capitals, you find out that all these food are rotten. So the person who had spent their money to go ahead and buy this food and spend money in order for them to bring it in the city, they lose their money. And when they lose their money, of course, it's going to affect their business. And once it affects their business, their economy or the economy of that country is going to go down. That's the reason why you guys are seeing we're having a lot of unemployment in a very high number because of these kind of things. So now, when you are having this kind of roads being built everywhere, guys, trust me, this is something that's going to give us not only a true freedom of economic, but it's going to also give us a true freedom of us controlling what we have in Africa. Remember, I always tell you every time that Africa was so blessed. Yes, Africa were blessed in everything. Whether it's with beautiful soil, we have it. Do you know how many European soil they have to use different kind of chemicals in order for them to produce their food? But us, we don't need that. You can take any seed, throw it anyway, even in desert, it's still gonna come out. Why? Because Africa, we are just so blessed, and everyone they know that because of what God have blessed Africa with is what end up making Africans having so many enemies all over around the world. End up having so many people who are jealous of Africa to continue always putting different stones in the way of Africans so that Africa should not develop, so that Africa should not end up experiencing their true freedom. Guys, this was a very beautiful breaking news that we feel like we can come here and sit down and have conversation with you over this. Because if we can't do this, then no one else will do it. This mainstream that you are seeing from the West, and they can't talk about this kind of project. Because for them it to be like they are opening up the eyes of the black people. So we rather come here and have a conversation with you. We really do appreciate your time. I'm looking forward to see you guys in our next video. But before you leave, do us a favor. Make sure that you like this video. Share with us your comment in the comment section. Tell us what you think about this project of £7 billion, which Africans have put together in order for them to build these railways. And tell us also what you think, whether African leaders they will go ahead and respect and do all these things according to the way it's supposed to be done, or they are going again to start stealing from this money. We're looking forward to see your opinion on that. I believe, guys, that will be all for now. So do us a favor, as it is the weekend, and especially during this time of festive, we are begging you to please stay out of trouble. Be good, be kind to everyone in order for you also to be respected. May God bless you all. We'll see you again very soon in our next episode. Ciao, ciao.